You applied total detachment, that omega-24 protocol that told you to drop everything, loosen the rope, stop chasing. You felt peace arrive, that strange sense of lightness you hadn't felt in months, maybe years. But then comes the question that won't leave you alone: did it actually work? Did he feel everything I felt? The truth no one tells you is yes, it worked, just not in the way you imagine. Your divine masculine is hurting right now, and it's not a regular kind of pain. It's not the kind that fades with time or a few distractions. There's a lie people love to repeat, the lie that he's happy, that he became just karma, that he simply moved on like you never existed. But think about it, if it were that easy, don't you think he would have done it already? If his life had continued normally, you wouldn't be here searching for these answers. The truth is the complete opposite. He's entering what we call the divine masculine night of the soul, that dark night triggered exactly by the peace you finally reached. When you applied the twin flame detachment, you planted a seed. And now he's starting to harvest the results of that transformation, but his results are bitter before they turn sweet. In this masterclass, you're going to uncover the 5 shocking signs that prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that your divine masculine is suffering and entering that critical return phase. And let me warn you now, sign number 4 is the one most people miss, the one that slips by unnoticed, but it's exactly the one that proves his ego has cracked and he's close to return. If you can identify that sign in his life, you'll know for sure that the twin flame runner pain has reached its peak, and what comes next changes everything. The mechanism of pain, the vacuum effect. You know that invisible button the divine feminine carries throughout the entire journey? The one that's constantly being pressed, generating need, anxiety, that hope he'll come back. That need button is like an energetic source that fuels the connection, and it was switched on the whole time you were searching, chasing, waiting. The divine masculine, even unconsciously, fed on that energy. It was like he was plugged into a battery that never ran out. But then you reached that turning point, that moment when you decided to apply total detachment, and everything changed. When you activate total detachment, you're not just ignoring him or pretending he doesn't exist, you're cutting off the energy source that kept the dynamic alive. It's like shutting off the generator of an entire house. Suddenly, everything goes dark. His pain isn't the emotional pain you feel when you cry, it's something much deeper, much more unsettling. It's the energetic vacuum, the complete absence of your soul's presence he had grown used to feeling. For the first time in his life, he experiences what it truly means to be alone, and that loneliness triggers the twin flame runner pain in a way nothing else can. He begins to understand, on the deepest level, what it means to lose someone he wasn't even fully aware he had. Now, his pain doesn't show up the same way yours does. You won't find him crying somewhere, emotionally shattered. The divine masculine's pain is silent, it's paralysis, confusion, a persistent denial that any of this is really happening. He may act as if everything is fine, as if nothing has changed, but internally, he's in a state of fragmentation. Understanding the difference between his twin flame runner pain and your pain is crucial, so you don't fall into the trap of interpreting his silence as indifference, when in reality, it's the loudest scream he's capable of giving right now. Shocking sign 1, accelerated aging. If you ever get the chance to see him, whether through social media, a casual encounter, or someone who knows him, you'll notice something that might seem subtle at first, but screams loudly to anyone who knows how to read the signs: he looks exhausted. And it's not the tiredness of someone who slept poorly last night, it's the exhaustion of someone fighting against an immense, invisible force. His face may look more lined, his eyes duller, his skin less vibrant. This accelerated aging is the physical proof that the divine masculine suffers, and the reason is simple: he's draining all his vitality resisting the connection that the twin flame bond represents. Think about it, when someone is at war with something they can't name, when they're resisting a truth that scares them, their body starts to pay the price. The stress of denying the connection, fighting the feelings, trying to move on when every cell in his being is screaming for reunion, all of that consumes energy at an absurd rate. It's like he's carrying an invisible weight on his shoulders every single day, and that weight ages him little by little. You can see this in people who live in deep denial, they literally age faster because the body can't withstand the contradiction between what it feels and what it's trying to suppress. The interesting thing is that this sign is so obvious that people often overlook it, they treat it as something normal, just the natural passage of time. But it's not. When you understand that this accelerated aging is a direct indicator that he's at the peak of the twin flame runner pain, you begin to see the situation much more clearly. His body is literally screaming what his mind refuses to admit, and this is one of the first signs that the divine masculine is preparing for the deep transformation that comes next. Because no body can carry that weight forever. Shocking sign 2, the collapse of addictions and distractions. Throughout that whole time you were searching, chasing, waiting, he had his escape mechanisms, the ones that worked beautifully to keep his mind busy and away from what really mattered. Overworking, those karmic relationships he kept to fill the void, obsessive hobbies, shallow friendships that provided constant distraction. Those tools acted like anesthetics that kept him asleep to the truth. But when you apply total detachment, when you cut off the energy source that fed his denial, something very specific happens. All those old distractions simply stop working. The things that used to distract him no longer have the same effect, it's as if the magic is gone. Imagine, he used to be so buried in work that he'd come home and collapse into bed with no time to think about you. Now, even in the middle of the most important meetings, he finds himself thinking about you. That karmic relationship he kept starts to feel hollow, purposeless. The hobbies that entertained him no longer hold his attention the same way. It's like the anesthetic has expired, and all the pain that was being masked rises to the surface, screaming. The void he used to fill with distractions can't be plugged by anything external anymore. He begins to realize the only emptiness that truly matters can only be filled by soul connection, by the truth he's been running from. He's at the peak of twin flame runner pain, and the escapes don't work anymore. This collapse of distractions is a sign few people recognize, but it's absolutely crucial in the return journey. When you see him letting go of the things that kept him busy, when he's slower, more present, even if confused, you know something deep is shifting inside. The divine masculine suffers when he realizes no distraction can fool him anymore, when he sees clearly that the problem isn't out there but within him, in the connection he keeps denying. This is the moment he becomes genuinely vulnerable to transformation, to awakening, and it's here that everything starts to move in a completely different direction. If you're following this journey with me and this insight touches something deep inside you, I invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because the next teachings are going to completely transform how you handle this situation, and you won't want to miss a single detail. Shocking sign 3, nightmares and mental intrusion. There comes a point when the divine masculine's mind can no longer control his unconscious, and that's when the dreams start invading the false peace he builds during the day. He has vivid dreams about you, some sweet, others unsettling, many he wakes up wanting to forget immediately. These aren't random dreams, they're manifestations of a truth trying to break through the layers of denial he put in place. During the day, he can pretend everything is fine, that you're just another person who passed through his life, but at night, when his defenses fall, the truth screams. He can't stop thinking about you, even when he wants to, even when he's desperately trying to move on. It's as if you've become part of the architecture of his mind in a way no willpower can erase. Mental intrusion is something few people talk about openly, but it's far too real to ignore. He can be anywhere, at work, at the gym, with friends, and suddenly you pop into his mind without warning. A song, a scent, a random situation triggers a memory, and there you are again, taking up mental space he wishes were empty. It frustrates him because he can't understand why. After all, he did everything right. He ran, he created distance, he tried to forget you. But twin flame runner pain doesn't work like that, it doesn't respect distance, denial, or any rational strategy his ego tries to use. The signs that he's suffering are stronger in his mind now than they ever were, because all the energy he used to run away is now being directed inward, amplifying every thought, every memory, every sensation tied to you. And here's the detail that changes everything: he knows this is happening, and he knows he can't stop it. That feeling of mental loss of control is deeply uncomfortable for a divine masculine, because he usually lives through logic and control. When his own thoughts slip out of his grip, and you keep reappearing in his mind, it's a clear sign that the twin flame detachment is working exactly as it should, and that he's entering a different state of awareness. The nighttime nightmares and daytime mental intrusions are two sides of the same awakening. He's being forced to confront the truth, and that truth is beginning to break down the walls he fought so hard to build. Shocking sign 4, the subtle, watching, behavior, the turning point. This is the sign that separates those who truly understand the journey from those who are just scratching the surface. He's not going to message you, you're not getting a sudden, "Hey, how are you?" because his ego is still too wounded to allow a direct approach. But the need is stronger than the ego, and that's when the subtle, watching, behavior starts to appear. He views your stories even if you've blocked him through your main account. He looks for information about you through mutual friends. He sneaks a quick look at your profile when he thinks no one will notice. These tiny actions, almost invisible to most people, scream a massive truth. He's still there, observing, feeling, connected. The divine masculine suffers silently through these small cracks he creates, testing the waters, testing whether you still love him, testing whether the twin flame detachment is really working or if it's just a temporary phase. What makes this sign so critical for the return is that it marks the exact moment when his ego starts to give in. He's no longer convinced he made the right choice by running, he's no longer certain that you were a burden. These subtle, watching actions are like distant smoke signals saying, "Hey, I'm here, are you still there?" He's testing whether there's still a connection, still a possibility, still a chance. And here's the detail that shifts the entire dynamic. This is the exact post-separation behavior that matters most when determining whether the return is close. When you're able to recognize these vague little signs, that like he removed later, that story he watched without reacting, that view that happened at a very specific time, you know he's testing whether the twin flame detachment is working, whether his own detachment is real, or whether it's safe to come back. Most people fall into the trap of responding to these subtle signs, encouraging these tiny actions, thinking they mark the beginning of the return. But they don't. This is his test. If you break the silence here, if you respond with hope or anxiety, you reactivate the old dynamic and he slips right back into runner mode. The real turning point lies in maintaining detachment even when you see these signs, even when you know he's watching. Because when you stay firm in that position, when you don't react at all to his quiet peeking, that's when he finally understands, his ego really has cracked, and the return isn't just a distant possibility anymore. It becomes a need, an urgency he can no longer ignore. Shocking sign 5, the sudden slowdown. If you look closely, you'll notice something that seems strange at first. He simply slows down. That man who was always in motion, always making big decisions, always building, planning, running forward, suddenly, he stops. It's not a conscious pause, not a planned rest. It's as if the energy that used to propel him has been shut off. The projects he was developing with enthusiasm start drifting into the background, the ambitions that once kept him focused lose relevance, even the opportunities appearing in front of him no longer move him the same way. The divine masculine slows down drastically when the twin flame runner pain reaches its peak, because all his energy is being drained by his internal battle against a truth he can no longer deny. He becomes paralyzed, not out of laziness or clinical depression, but out of deep confusion about what truly matters and what he should be doing with his life. This slowdown is particularly revealing because the divine masculine, by nature, is action, he is movement, construction, progression. When he stops moving, when he stops making big decisions, when he simply sits and lets the days pass, you know something very deep is happening inside. He may leave work at the same time as always, but without that sense of purpose. He may still go to the gym, but without the intensity he used to have. He may hang out with friends, but be distant, disconnected. It's as if he's waiting for something, without consciously knowing what it is. In reality, he is preparing. It's not passive waiting, it's energetic waiting. He's reorganizing himself internally, consolidating what the twin flame detachment is revealing to him, creating mental and emotional space for a transformation he can feel approaching. And here's the crucial point, This slowdown is the direct prelude to the phase where the divine masculine wanting to return truly begins to manifest. You will not see the return happen while he's moving fast, while he's in active denial, while he's desperately trying to move on. The return is only possible when he stops, when he creates that inner vacuum, when he allows himself to fully feel the absence. The paralysis you observe in him now is not weakness, it's wisdom and progress, it's his ego finally surrendering to what his soul has known from the beginning. When you can identify this slowdown, you're witnessing the exact moment when he's closest to coming back, because it's in that silence, that pause, that apparent paralysis, that the truth finally becomes loud enough to be heard without competition. What to do now that he's suffering? This is the part where most people make the final mistake, the one that undoes everything that has been built so far. When you start identifying these 5 shocking signs, when you see that he's truly suffering, that the divine masculine really suffers, an almost irresistible temptation appears, trying to help him, trying to ease his pain, trying to show up and fix everything. It feels like that nurturing instinct to repair what hurts, and it's absolutely understandable that you feel this way. But let me be very clear, this is exactly the trap that will make him run again, that will resurrect the old pattern, that will reset all the progress you achieved through total detachment. Feeling sorry for him at this moment might seem like an act of love, but in reality, it's sabotage disguised as compassion. His pain is his work, his initiation, the very thing that needs to happen for him to reach the other side transformed. Have you ever stopped to think about what would happen if you stepped into that process? If you came down from that place of peace and balance and rushed in to save him? You wouldn't be saving anyone, you would be interrupting a surgery being performed on his soul. The pain he feels now is surgical, necessary, it's the scalpel cutting away the parts of him that need to die so he can be reborn as a harmonious partner, as a man who truly understands value, as someone finally ready for true union. If you intervene now, you're essentially saying, hey, you don't need to do this work, I'll do it for you, and then you fall back into the pattern of carrying his weight, doing the work that is solely and exclusively his responsibility. The only action you need to take right now is to maintain total detachment, to stay in that peaceful state, to allow his journey to unfold without your interference, even if it hurts, even if you see him suffering. And here is the truth that changes everything, his pain in this moment is your power. It may sound contradictory, but that's exactly how it works. Every time you resist the urge to save him, every time you remain firm in peace even while watching him suffer, you're sending a powerful energetic message that says, I trust that you can handle this, I trust in the strength within you, I trust that you will emerge transformed. The ultimate proof of this is that the real purpose of his pain is to prepare him to be a harmonious partner in union, to burn away the parts of the ego that no longer fit in the story the two of you are meant to live together. When you truly understand this, when you can see his pain not as unnecessary suffering but as necessary initiation, you find a peace that is unshakable, and it's that very peace that will finally bring him back, not to run again, but to stay. Let's recap together what you just discovered, because this is far too important to let slip by unnoticed. The 5 shocking signs we explored: accelerated aging, the collapse of distractions, nightmares and mental intrusion, subtle stalking behavior, and sudden slowing down. These are not coincidences. They are not random movements of the universe. Each one of these signs is irrefutable proof that the divine masculine suffers, that he is at the peak of the twin flame runner pain, and that he's getting closer to the return point you've been waiting for. What you learned here is not theory, it's an observation of reality unfolding in the lives of countless people, the repeating pattern that appears when someone truly applies total detachment with real understanding. These signs are like the heartbeat of the universe saying, hey, it's working, trust the process, the return is coming. But let me be honest, knowing these signs is one thing, having the emotional discipline not to react to them when you see them is something entirely different. It's easy to read all this now, when everything is calm, when you're not staring at a sign he left behind, when you're not watching him suffer. The real strength lies in maintaining twin flame detachment even when the signs appear, even when he starts moving in your direction, even when everything inside you screams for you to do something. This is where most people fail, because they confuse compassion with saving, they confuse love with intervention. His pain right now is sacred, it is his work, and you honor that work by keeping your distance, keeping your peace, and allowing him to walk his path without your interference, no matter how much it hurts. Now you have a choice to make. You can store this information as just another interesting thing you read somewhere online, or you can decide to actually apply it, truly live it, and allow these truths to transform your relationship with the twin flame reunion journey. Because here's the detail, knowledge without application is like having a map but never leaving the house. Your next steps are yours to take, and they begin now, with the decision to stay firm in what you've learned, with the choice to trust that the process is working even when external evidence seems contradictory. The transformation you want to see in him begins with the transformation you've already started within yourself, and that's what we're going to talk about at the next level, in Omega 28, where you will learn the real secret to ensuring that when he returns, he doesn't run again. He will come back. This isn't a distant possibility, it's a matter of time, a fact unfolding right now as you read these words. The 5 signs you've learned today are proof that the divine masculine wanting to return is no longer a far-off dream, it's a reality in motion, an energy already moving in your direction. But here's the problem nobody talks about: the return is not the end of the story, it's only the beginning of an entirely new chapter, and that chapter is where most people fall again. Because bringing him back is one thing, ensuring he doesn't run again is something completely different. You may have done everything right so far, maintained twin flame detachment flawlessly, identified every sign with accuracy, but if you don't know what to do when he finally returns, everything can collapse all over again. Think about it, he comes back, both your hearts are open, hope is in the air, and suddenly old patterns start resurfacing. He begins doubting again, questioning if it's really the right time, if he can truly be in this relationship, if he has truly changed. Or he comes back scared, insecure, carrying all the pain you helped him process from afar. And if you don't know exactly how to navigate this, how to honor his vulnerability while standing in your own strength, how to create a space where he feels safe enough to never run again, well, you end up back in the cycle. The twin flame runner pain may have pulled him away once, without the right knowledge, it can pull him away again. And this time the pain can be even deeper, because he already knows the two of you could have worked, and still ran. That's why in the next masterclass, Omega 28, you're going to learn the harmony code, the specific protocol, the step-by-step, the exact structure that ensures that when he returns, he won't escape again. It's not about controlling him, it's not about manipulation, it's about creating an environment so harmonious, so authentic, so transformed that running simply stops making sense to him. It's about rewriting the entire dynamic, establishing a solid foundation for twin flame reunion that isn't just beautiful at the start, but resilient, true, and able to withstand whatever comes. Don't miss this next step, your journey together is reaching its most critical point, and you need to be fully prepared with the wisdom that will guide you forward.